And bring me your heavy cream.
So the title of this video is why high-fat keto will mess you up. So why will high-fat keto mess you up? Because your calories will typically be higher if you're having large amounts of fats in your diet, because 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories, meanwhile 1 gram of protein and carb equals 4. So that means you can have double the amount of carbs and proteins in grams than the amount that you have in fats before you're even at the same number of calories. So you have a lot more room to work with the proteins and carbs, and even if you're in a deficit on fat, your body will be more likely to pull from the fat on the plate than the fat on your body. Your body never wants to have to take its own energy stores. It always wants to save the energy you have, because that is the whole purpose of fat. The whole purpose of fat is to have energy stored at any time when your body needs it. So when you are in ketosis, yes, your body will be pulling from its own fat. However, if you're overloading the gas tank with lots of gas, it's obviously not going to pull out of the reserves. That's a great metaphor, and I literally just thought of that right now. But when it comes to high-fat keto, higher ketones will result from higher fat. You want your body to produce its own ketones from its own source inside your stomach. That's another reason why exogenous ketones aren't a great supplement choice to be having all the time when you're on a keto diet. They're best to jumpstart you in, or if you have a high performance day that you really need extra ketones for and extra energy for. So when you are when you're in ketosis, your body will obviously be taking a mix of dietary fat and its own fat for energy. Now, when you have higher calories, which is more likely to result from higher fat, of course, if you're not in a deficit, your body's not going to use its own fat. But the point I'm trying to make is that even when you are in a deficit, if you take one person with the exact same body and metabolism as another person, so let's say 2 twins, for example, one twin is on a 500 calorie deficit with 80% fat in their diet and they're in ketosis. The other person is in the exact same calorie deficit, except their diet is predominantly a mix of protein and fat, a moderate mix of both. So moderate protein, moderate fat, and still minuscule carbs. The person with 50% fat on this side will lose more body fat than the person with 80% fat in the same calorie deficit. So the reason that is because, like I said, the person with 50% fat is forcing their body to pull from its own fat stores. The person with 80% fat, even if they're in a deficit, is giving their body all the energy it needs. Fat is a more efficient energy source. Even if you're in a calorie deficit, your body will use fat from the plate and be able to do a wide range of activities with that fat as energy. That's why it's beneficial to use keto on a cut, because even the deeper you're into your diet and you only have, like, let's say you're at 8-9% body fat and you are really towards the poverty range of your calorie intake, and you're really lowering those macros and really lowering those calories to the point where you're very depleted. Even if you are in a very low calorie deficit, you've been doing it for a while, and your body is trying to be very frivolous with its energy, you will have plenty of energy to still hit your lifts, to still keep the same strength level, keep the same level of performance, even in a deficit, because your body is going to be more efficient at burning its own fat, and also it's primed to do that. When your body is in ketosis, it's more primed to burn its own fat. So when you are in an 80% fat keto diet, your body, of course, is going to have an abundance of energy. However, when you have a 50% fat keto diet, for example, you're still going to have plenty of energy from the plate, but you're still going to force your body to keep that engine going, to keep its metabolism firing and burning its own fat for energy. So, of course, you can achieve that through other diets as well. However, keto is the most optimal for burning your own body fat. It's basically turning the switch to change the metabolism so that it's ready to basically use its own fat as energy at all times. A carbohydrate and glucose-based metabolism can still do this. However, it typically you typically reach a point where you have to really lower your carbs to the point where you are just so depleted and so gassed that dieting is such a terrible experience on. I've done it before, plenty of people have done it, you might have even done it, and if you want to diet and stick to this lifestyle, you want to do a diet that makes you feel energy even when you're low on calories. Of course, you're always going to be irritable and stuff if you really lower your calories. When you're 3-4 months into your diet and you're down to that 10% body fat range or lower, of course, your body's going to want you to get more food, and you'll probably be a little more sensitive to negative emotion, you'll be a little more sensitive to irritability. However, those things will definitely be tapered down with a keto diet, and those things will definitely be tapered down if your body is always having energy on hand. Your body is an evolutionary machine, and it always wants you to get more energy. It would rather have excess energy and stored on your body than look aesthetic as hell and have lower energy stores. But when your energy stores are in the mode where they are the type of fuel your body's using, even if you're in that lower calorie deficit, your body will still perform. You'll still probably hit most of your lifts, even towards the very end part of your cut. Now, high-fat keto diets, as I've said before, the reason they exist is because most of the experiments and most of the scientific literature on keto relates to studies from the 20s and 30s on epileptic children who needed very high ketones. All of the so-called gurus on YouTube recommend that you have high-fat keto diets because A, you'll feel great, and B, they haven't done enough research to tell you that high fat isn't the most optimal for fat loss. High energy of any sort, whether it's high carb or high fat, is never optimal for fat loss because if you're giving your body all the energy it needs, it's never going to burn its own. The reason they say you burn fat is because it literally is being used as fuel for the fire. So there's never going to be a diet where you eat plenty of food and lose weight. Plenty of food as in caloric surplus. There's never a caloric surplus diet, and there's never an energy surplus diet is the point from that. So even if your calories are lower, if you eat a ton of carbs, let's say you eat only carbs in the daytime, your body will have plenty of energy and it won't have enough protein or it won't have enough of fat to run a lot of its hormonal processes. And if you have a very high fat diet, you'll have enough fat for your body's energy, for its essential fatty acids. However, your body's energy levels are still going to be higher, and it's not going to need to pull from itself. So if you want to lose that fat, if you want to get in the best shape of your life, and if you want to have a diet in your place that you can stick to that won't make you feel like shit all the time, and that even when you're towards the most final round, last inning of the diet, if you don't want to feel like shit, go to the keto diet. Look to the keto diet. Don't spike your fats. Learn how to do it properly by watching my videos and use this diet to live the lifestyle you want and to know that you're always going to be able to burn fat at a glance, at a notice, a short notice, anything. And the point is, high-fat keto is wrong. High-fat keto will mess you up in terms of your fat loss because it'll be a waste of your time. Yes, you'll be, feeling great from the keto diet and you won't have those blood sugar spikes and you won't be feeling like you need a nap every day. However, you'll waste your time if your goal is fat loss and you do a 3 or 4 month cut and your fats are so high that your body doesn't need to use its own fat. You're going to feel like you wasted your time for several months because your body is not going to burn the fat that you want it to get rid of. So that's my 2 cents on high-fat keto. I have many of other cents, which I'm going to be throwing at high-fat keto throughout the rest of my videos. However, if you want to lose weight, high-fat keto will never be optimal unless it's in the beginning of your diet and you're really getting used to it and you want your body to adapt. And let's say you haven't done keto before, you really want your body to, make sure it's in that ketogenic state. And really when you have a higher calorie limit to work with too, that you can incorporate higher amounts of fats. So the point is, whenever your body has a high amount of energy, whether it's carbohydrates or fats, it's never going to burn its own energy. If you had a diet, for example's sake, that was only carbs and or only fats, your body is going to need to make that protein up. So it's going to take from its own protein. So you need to start off by picking your protein number, which is, like I said, based off of your body's muscle mass, how much protein you need per day. What you do is you start with that protein, And if you didn't have that protein, like I said, it would be taken from your own muscles, and that's the most important thing, because you never want to lose your hard-earned muscle. So if you had a diet that was only carbs and protein, you'd probably feel very crappy because your fats would be so low that you didn't have enough to perform a lot of functions in your body. Your hormone levels would tank. Your testosterone would probably drop, because testosterone is created a lot by cholesterol. Cholesterol is necessary to create testosterone, and high-fat diets do help with a lot of cholesterol production, because you're intaking a lot of cholesterol, typically with a lot of saturated fat, and your body's testosterone levels can still remain the same. However, if your protein is never enough, it's always going to be a problem. You want to make sure you have a balance of protein and a balance of energy. So whether or not you like to diet with keto or you like to diet with glucose metabolism, you're going to need a decent amount of energy, a decent amount of insurance that you don't lose your hard-earned muscle. So what that means is start with protein, then move to your energy source, which in keto's sake is going to be fat, and let that just soak up the rest of your hunger needs. So that's the end of this video. Thank you for watching. Please let me know what else you'd like me to talk about. I'm just going to keep putting these videos out there because I want to educate all of you on how to get in the best shape of your life, and how to stay in that shape, and how to enjoy life while doing it. So thanks again. My name is Anthony Romano, and share this video if it was useful to you, and subscribe to me if you'd like to see more. Thank you.